So the Fate and the Furious, I believe, is the ninth installment of the Fast and Furious franchise.
Minus one, sir.
Eight. Gotcha.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, here's the thing, I've been. Well, it's funny. I remember years ago. Do you guys remember having Paul Walker on the show? I think it was the Fast and Furious.
Yes.
He called.
He's a good guy too. Nice guy. Yeah, I remember liking him.
Great guy. And I remember I was so jealous because, like, growing up, Fast and Furious was like my ultimate film. I saw the first one 9 times in theaters, but I worked at a movie theater, so I would go after work every single time and see the movie because I loved it. And I never seen anything like it before. And then Fast and Furious 2 and 3 were just terrible movies. And theoretically speaking, the franchise should never have gone on past 3. And I cannot believe that it did because those movies were so bad. And then when 4 came back together and the original cast came back and you had Paul Walker and Vin Diesel, Michelle Rodriguez and Jordana Brewster, it got really good again. I remember Paul Walker calling into the show, and I'm like, oh, my gosh, this is amazing. It's like throwing back to my high school years. And then they did Fast 5, and The Rock got introduced, which was awesome. And then 6 was pretty cool. It was in London. And then 7, we know what happened to Paul Walker. Paul Walker passed away, not during the actual filming, but during the production of the movie. And then his 2 brothers, Cody, stepped in and actually shot the rest of the scenes for him. And they put, Paul's face digitally on their body for some of the scenes. It was pretty insane how they pulled that off. James Wan did a great job. And now the 8th one, which is coming out today. Here's the thing. I mean, you might be wondering, like, okay, why do people care about this? Why are they making 8 movies? The first 7 made $3.9 billion. So, I mean, there's definitely an audience here, shockingly. And I love this franchise. I think after The Rock got introduced in Fast 5, it got really fun. And it became like these crazy, absurd heist movies, but at the same time, you actually care for these characters somehow in a weird, grounded reality, even though there's all this crazy, ridiculous action going on. I mean, in 5, they dragged a bank vault through Rio. In 6, they fight a tank. In 7, they dropped cars out of a skydiving cars. And then now in 8, you have a scene where The Rock literally redirects a torpedo with his bare hands. I mean, that's the ridiculous nature of what these movies have become. But for some reason, they found a way to make them work. And the guy who directed this one, F. Gary Gray, also did Straight Outta Compton, which was phenomenal. He also did Set It Off. He did Friday, Law Abiding Citizen. He's a great director, and he also did The Italian Job. So you know that he can balance out that comedy, but also that action and the racing. And this time around, Dominic Toretto's gone rogue. He's going against his team for some emotional reason. Charlize Theron's the villain in the film. She plays Cypher. She's trying to start World War III. And it really is just an awesome action movie. I mean, here's the thing. If you're not a fan of the franchise, don't go see it because you're not going to like it if you're not a fan. But I love this franchise. I think it's one of the better ones. And I know everyone listening right now, their heads are going to spin when I mention this, but this is something important and interesting to note. The chronological timeline of these movies is fascinating because you have 7 of them leading up to this movie. This is crazy. It actually goes 1, 2, 4, 5, 6, 3, 7, 8. That's the order of the franchise in regards to the timeline. I know it sounds crazy, but that is how they did it. To me, this is one of the better ones in the franchise. I would put this, 5, 7, and 1 up there as the top 4 of the franchise. I loved it. I thought it was awesome. Jason Statham's fantastic in the movie. The Rock's amazing in the film. I absolutely loved it as a fan. I gave it a 4.5 out of 5. I thought it was so much fun, and I think that, again, it's one of those things, if you don't love the franchise, you're probably going to like it. So it's just coming from a fan's perspective.
Half out of 5. I saw you on Twitter discussing kind of modern day movies versus the Citizen Kanes of the world. You're giving this a 4.5 out of 5. What do you give Citizen Kane?
Citizen Patrick Kane.
Hold on. Here's the thing. So that was a long 20-tweet rant about how I think it's unfair that movies like Fast and Furious and action films, Star Wars, whatever they are, don't have the ability to take on what is called great cinema. Because we have been accustomed to this idea that films that are dramatic, Oscar-winning type movies are the only movies that can be considered great cinema. Like Fast and Furious, I feel like is looked down upon. It's like a joking franchise. It's fun. But I completely disagree with that. The point I was making on my Twitter feed was that I think that these types of movies are very hard to make, and they hit a certain realm where it does work cinematically, and it's an awesome time at the movies, yet there's this weird feeling that Fast and Furious movies can't be taken seriously, and neither can action films like Transformers or, even the Terminator movies. To me, there is a weirdness there that we are somehow being told that these films can't be great. And the only reason I brought up Citizen Kane, because I think Citizen Kane is personally an overrated movie. And I know it's blasphemous to say as a film critic, I think that it is shot well. I admire the way it was done. Orson Welles was like 25 when he made it. It's phenomenally shot. I don't care for the story. And that's why I always go to Hitchcock, because Hitchcock, to me, was the innovator. He was the one that made films that innovated filmmaking, but also told great stories at the exact same time. So to me, Hitchcock was the best of both worlds. I'm not knocking old movies, and I'm not saying Fast and Furious is better than Citizen Kane, but I would rather watch a Fast and Furious film on a Saturday night than put on Citizen Kane. I don't think that's a crazy thing to say because, I know film criticism is like, oh, that kid's an idiot. Why would he watch this movie over that movie? There's just certain films that work better for you entertainment-wise.